It's my great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, President Ernest Jones. He's president of the Yavapai-Prescott Indian community. He's been serving the tribe since on the council since 1972, which I want to note is 5 years before Jeff was born, as he pointed out. And that depressed me because that was the year I graduated from high school. So good luck in your future endeavors, Jeff. We've enjoyed having you as part of our family. I'm kidding. So we've asked President Jones to speak with us today, but there's a little known bit of trivia about President Jones. He's a well-known pitcher, softball pitcher. And I don't know who won the last game between President Jones and Will's team. I'm not going to ask. But the trivia is, President Jones is one of the few pitchers in Arizona who has not struck out Levi a square. And Levi told me this quite proudly earlier today. And then he sheepishly admitted that's because he's never faced President Jones on the mound. So Levi's retiring from baseball and softball so he can hold that record. But please welcome President Jones.
I'm going to commute here. Good morning, how are you? My name is Ernest Jones Sr., President of the Yavapai-Prescott Tribe. And before I get to our economic development on our reservation, I'd like to elaborate a little bit on the tribe. You know, I talked to a few of the people this morning, and they were just, kind of curious about how the Yavapai originated and, why are we so small? Well, at one time, we had occupied 9.3 million acres of central Arizona. And this is before the coming of the settlers. And we had 4 subgroups of Yavapais. And the one in Prescott, we were called the Yavapai. And the one east of us, around the Baghdad area, they were called the Dolcapayas. And the one to the east of us, the Verde Valley bunch, they were called the YPIT. And the one further south on Verde River, they were called the Guevcapayas. So, we were actually 4 subgroups of Yavapais. And like I say, we ranged 9.3 million acres. And due to the relocation of our tribe back in 1872, they rounded up all the, mentioned Yavapai groups except for the Tolcapayas. Tolcapayas went westward through the Colorado River. And they joined the human stock there, which Yavapais are also part of. They were always saying that we were of the Athabascan stock, but we're not. We come from the human stock, which eventually evolved into the Pi tribes. And then Pi is another one because we're the part of the Supai and the Hualapai and the Yavapai. So, you just break them down to the human stock. And that's, that's how the Yavapai came to being. Okay, and then to elaborate on the tribe, eventually we became a tribe recognized by the Bureau of Indian Affairs on August 7th, 1935. So we're a relatively young tribe, and we didn't really start our economic development until the mid-70s. And our tribal land, it just consists now of 1,600 acres. Plus you can see on the map, the green area attached to it is an additional 200 acres that we purchased about 8-9 years ago. And that is not yet in trust fee, although we're working on it. And the economic development on the Yavapai-Prescott Indian Reservation has come through planned growth, in which this was started about the mid-70s. Tribal leaders have known the importance of effectively utilizing the economic engines of the tribe would have for future benefit and legacy of the tribe. And we're surrounded on 3 sides by the city of Prescott and located within the intersection of 2 highways, Highway 89 and Highway 69 that comes in from Phoenix. And the opportunity for economic development was enhanced by the vision of our tribal leaders back in the mid-70s. And that's what spurred us. Our tribal leader, maybe many of you know her, was Pat McGee. she went to the state and asked him for help, and sure enough, Earl Costco was governor at that time, and he had a few from his planning department come up and talk to the tribe, and that's what started our economic development engine. And you know, that's what really brings us up to where we are, because in the 80s, that's when gaming started. And then when gaming started, you know, there's a unique story in that, and I could elaborate, you know, just how that came into being. Because in about 1980, 1981, there was this tribe from Washington State. They wanted to do a bingo in central Arizona, so they picked Yavapai-Prescott. They came, they were looking for big cash prizes, and they were huge, $10,000, $15,000 for grand prizes on Saturday night. And they were trying to haul in about 4,000 or 5,000 gamers, bingo players. But then that only lasted about 6 months because Prescott, you know, it wasn't very big at that time, and we couldn't bring in the population. So the tribe, you know, they just got up and left. They said, you guys can have what we have here. So they left us the paperwork, the chairs, the tables, everything. So we just thought, why can't we just start a bingo at a lower level? So that's what we did, and that's how gaming started with this in what, I think, in 1982. And you can please note that this is 6 years before IGRA. So that's how, you know, a lot of tribes ask me, how come a small tribe like you, we only have 182 tribal members, can have 2 casinos? And then we just said we were grandfathered in before 1988. So that's how we had 2 casinos, and one's located up at Bucky, we call it, at our Prescott Resort and Conference Center. And our other one is Yavapai Casino. And you know, that's how we started. And then next thing to come along was but before this was the Prescott Resort and Conference Center. And that came along in about 1985, 1986. W.M. Grace, a developer out of Phoenix, who our president at that time knew quite well, said that, you know, he can come up and he can do that for us. So he got some loans and he started that project for us. We finished that in about 1987, almost 1988. And he owned that, and you know, and then he just paid us a lease value on that. And then next, about 1989, 1990, we had our Frontier Village. The W.M. Grace, you know, he did have shopping centers all across the United States, and in Arizona, Phoenix, and Mexico, and even Alaska. So he said, let's go ahead and start a shopping center here. He said, I want to lease 250 acres. So sure enough, he did, just on the outskirts of Prescott and on the eastern border of our reservation. And we did that, and we looked at other commercial areas of other reservation, and then I got to elaborate again that this is one of our first starting points with they called it Sundog Industrial Park, but we started that in the early 75, and we called that, it was the Jimbulo Park in the beginning, but we started that, and it was an industrial park, but then, you know, that didn't do very good either, so that's when we went commercially and went with W.M. Grace. And so we did that, and as the years went by, you know, we just started growing and growing, and in 1988, that's when IGRA came into view, and that's when we started our how would you say, our rise beneficent, you know, benefiting the tribe and where we wanted to go. So, you know, some of these things here shows us some of the businesses we had. You know, like our retail shopping center, it shows what we have there. And then down at Sundog, where it shows Prescott Hot Rod and a few others. There's Prescott Hot Rod, and then Rapid Towing, and Hit a Gap Signs. And you know, these, you know, they just started coming in as soon as we started growing and getting into the mix. And you know, all wasn't very good because, you know, we always had water issues and call it sanitary issues. But then we did a water agreement with the city of Prescott, which we finally got done. And I believe that we were one of the first tribes to get our tribal water rights, and this is in 1994. And I'd like to really applaud our commercial real estate group. You know, we work closely with them with experienced financing and accounting employees and planning professionals. And you know, like the adage always says, you know, to make money you got to spend money. So you know, we started bringing these high-paying salaries into Prescott, and you know, Prescott was always looking for that. You know, because you know we just had probably tourism, and you know, like I could elaborate on the Prescott area, you know, about our elevation, about you know what we have all there, and all the history, and all the things that abounded Prescott. But anyway, getting back to our real estate, you know, in 2.5 years, and in 2013, we bought Frontier Village, and we did the same thing with the resort, our Prescott Conference Center, and all that was done because of the benefits of gaming. You know, we were talking, the presenters were talking about how gaming really benefited the tribes, and I can elaborate on before gaming, before you know we established our commercialization. You know, we're like a third world country. We had out-of-house toilets, we had no running water, we had to go to a centralized water faucet to get our water, and you know, we were just almost like a third world, like I said, you know. And then the Bureau of Indian Affairs hardly didn't recognize us as a tribe, but yet, you know, the VA did, and you know, through the help of them, you know, they had given us extra land, and we were recognized as a reservation. And so, you know, things like that, you know, they just kept occurring and kept helping us. And then now, you know, I'd like to elaborate a little more on where we want to go in the future. In the future, you know, we have a ranch in Skull Valley. I don't know if you're, you know, knowing the Prescott area, Yavapai County is located about 20 miles west. And we're just saving that for you know, for future use, future development, and you know, and the latest thing that's really coming up is, you know, ranching and agriculture. So you know, that really helps us because you know there is quite a bit of water up on that land, and so you know we're going to try to go into that, and then you know just supply our own frontier village and our casinos, you know, with our tribal herd and our trying to do some vegetable farming and tree farming, and you know, things are really looking good for the tribe. And because of the smallness of our tribe and the attractiveness of our casinos, you know, we do a per cap, and then to me that could otherwise be a downfall, because you know we have the youngsters coming up, and they look at that as you know, I can live off this. You know, I don't have to go on and work. I don't have to get into education. And quite a few of them are, you know, dropping out in 10th grade or dropping out when they're 16 years old. But then we try to put a halt to it and say, you know, you got to be 21 before you get your per cap. Before it was 18, you had to either have a GED or a diploma. But now, you know, like I'm saying, you know, that could be a good use for the tribe, and yet, you know, it could hurt our tribe. But, you know, all in all, you know, things are looking good for our reservation. And, you know, I was just, what do you call it? Statisticians called me the other day, and they were asking me how our casino, how badly were we hit in 2008 when the recession hit. And, you know, you're all aware that a lot of tribes took double hits, 15–20%, but our tribe only suffered about 8–9%. And they thought that was really good. They said, how would you do it? And then we said, you know, a retirement community. And, you know, we're looking at the same things that the presenters before me talked about, how we're trying to elaborate and how we're trying to bring tourism on our reservation, how we're trying to bring back our history, our culture. And there's another big story to our culture, because when they when they took us to San Carlos and brought it back. And we came back and we settled back in our old homeland. There was nowhere for us to go, nowhere to hunt, nowhere to go, roam like we did on 9.3 million acres. But anyway, you adapt to it. So, we adapted to it. But sadly, we lost a lot of our culture, a lot of our history. But yet, there's some history that we still have, and slowly it's coming back to us. But hopefully, we hope, that will exist for another 50 years or more. And just to end with this, I went to a seminar, and then I told them we had 182 tribal members back then. I think it was 175. And then one fellow stood up and he said, "Mr. Jones, that's how many relatives I have in my clan." So I really appreciate standing before you and elaborating to you on our tribe. So, and I really believe this is really good for the young people to learn and then just keep this going, so that up and coming tribe, we always talk generations within our tribes, that this will just keep going on and keep getting better. And thank you very much.